If you guys watch my channel closely, you know that about a month ago, I bought a new to me, 1973 Honda CB500. Now the bike wasn't absolutely immaculate. I would say it wasn't in quite as good a condition as my old Triumph, but my old Triumph was restored in the 90s, and this is an original bike with 50,000 miles on it, and it's really, really nice, really solid for basically being entirely original and for being 50 years old. Now in that video, I go over a few things that the bike needed. Probably most important was the sticky throttle, and I attempted to do a few things myself, but realized quickly that it would be best to have an expert look at the bike, not only to fix the throttle, but also to just go over the bike as a whole and see what it needed and really get it into perfect, like running, good condition so that I don't have to worry about anything. I do like to work on old bikes, and I do work on my old Triumph here and there, but even the Triumph, there's things that I haven't really learned, and this bike, I'm not ready to work on this bike. But yeah, whether the carbs needed to be cleaned or rebuilt, timing, all that kind of stuff. I mean, even the spark plugs are supposed to be torqued to certain settings. This bike is much more mechanically sophisticated than my old Triumph. So I found this guy, his name is Bruce, and he has this awesome little business working on old Hondas in my area. I'm in Beaverton, right outside of Portland, and he's over in Hillsboro, about 40 minutes from me. But yeah, he's an expert on vintage Hondas. He's certified all the way up to Honda sport bikes from the 90s, as you'll see when we get to his shop. And he came over and looked at the bike and was really excited about it, thought it was really cool. He thought it was a really good purchase. He couldn't believe how nice it was for being all original, and it ran right away. He thought it sounded good. So he was really excited to work on it, which made me excited. A lot of times you have someone work on your bike or your cars and they're just awful to work with. This guy was amazing. But yeah, over the course of the next couple weeks, it would take a while because we'd be waiting for parts, and then one part came and it wasn't correct or was leaking oil, so we had to wait for another part, and then we'd have to get a correct gasket. There's just things that happened. But I did want to show you guys the process a bit, so I'm going to take you back a few weeks to me going over and checking out the bike when it's almost done, and show you some of the stuff we've done and some of the things we've done to make the bike more original but better running. And then we'll show the bike arriving and then me starting it up and going over what all has been done. So this one's going to be a bit longer than usual, a bit more detailed, but I hope you guys enjoy it, and make sure to stick around till the end to hear this baby run. Okay guys, we got a bunch of parts that have all finally come. I think we have the last of what we need to give Bruce to finish up the Honda. Here is a oil pan bottom cover. That was someone had JB welded the original one. It could leak and it's not good. Here's a also new old stock chain cover. Okay. It's in pretty good condition. Again, original part. Original stuff is almost always the best. Brake hoses. So we got two OEM brake hoses from Honda. Then, what is this? I'm trying to remember everything I got. Oh, yeah. Here's an OEM correct air filter. The most important part out of every single part I've gotten, the one thing, honestly, if I had wanted to, I could have done nothing else but get this part. This is this spring that is currently not on the bike. It has this flimsy little spring. This pulls the carburetor closed. Basically, it pulls the throttle closed. And what's on there is this chintzy little thing that literally looks nothing like this. So this is the thing that snaps the throttle back. And it's really the only major thing that's wrong with the bike right now that is keeping it. We literally could have done nothing else, but of course we did a lot of stuff to try to get it original, and then service stuff like new brake hoses and stuff. This is the one thing out of all of the parts that is not OEM. It's all good. But anyways, these are original. These are basically replicas of the original rear shocks, and I want to see how they look. So this is what the rear shocks should look like, and the ones that are on there, if you've seen the video, are black and they don't have this cover, and this cover is there to protect the passenger's fingers. But anyways, these look absolutely amazing. They look so good. So that's the only part that is not either NOS or OEM that we're putting on the entire bike. The rest of the bike is, yeah, like these are made in Taiwan, not made in Japan. but that's okay. Taiwan, they know how to make good motorcycle stuff in Taiwan and automotive stuff. So anyways, that's the last of the parts, and I'm going to take it to Bruce now, and he is going to put everything to right on the bike, and then I'm going to take it home, and it'll be good to go. I'm going to see if I can remember everything we've done so far, and I'm actually at
Vintage Honda Service.
Vintage Honda Service in Forest Grove. This has been, I'm not trying to butter your biscuit, but this has been like the best mechanical experience I've literally ever had. You guys have probably experienced bad mechanics who try to screw you over or have you do things that you don't need to have done or whatever. Anyways, I'm gonna you interrupt me at some point if you want. Okay. I want to just go through a few of the things you've done so far. I guess if we want to start from the bottom, we put new but old looking Duro tires on. These look really close to what would have came on the bike, but obviously they're new and they look so much better in my opinion than the original tires. So new tires front and back. Let's see. Yeah, these really look old, don't they? These look like Avons or something. Yeah. So that's new, and then new fork gators. The fork gators were what, like 3 rings too long or something like that?
Yeah, they look like they're actually off of Yamaha.
Yeah, okay, you think so? Yeah, they were like scrunched up, and so this turned out really good. Yeah. That looks super nice.
Yeah, very tight.
So these are just some of the more, this is more cosmetic, right? But right. Let's see, let me see. And then mechanically, what have you done with the engine? I know you did like some top end stuff or just like valve stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we adjusted the valves.
Okay.
Cam chain, engine timing, both dynamic and static.
Okay.
Yeah, changed the oil. Real basic stuff. The engine is in fabulous condition given the mileage. And then during the reassembly of the drain plug, we found that the oil pan had a crack in it from a previous owner.
I'll show that over here. Okay, so this is the original one, right?
Yep.
Okay. It was like JB welded, right? Or was that what you said? Or?
Yep, still is.
Yep, okay. And you were like, let's get a new one,
yep.
Right?
It's the right thing to do for you.
Okay, yeah. Cool. So we got an OEM or I guess NOS, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's replaced, it's used, but it's in great condition.
Yep, sweet.
So that'll seal that engine up real nice.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Let's see, what else?
We did spark plugs.
Okay. Did you put the spark plugs I gave you in, or did you do different spark plugs? Okay.
No, I did yours.
Okay, sweet.
Yep, the ones you gave me.
Which have to be torqued, he just told me, to the right. They're not just like, take them out, put them in, whatever. You've got them in there right.
Yep. Yeah, and speaking of torque settings up front, to make sure that it's super safe for you and that there's no question about safety and reliability, is the brake system's going to be completely gone through to make sure that it stops appropriately. So we're getting new old stock hoses put on.
Okay.
New gaskets all the way through, down to the union, down to the caliper.
Okay.
Front disc is in great condition. The pucks are in great shape. There's no need to replace them.
Okay.
And then because the whole front end was off, we replaced the fluid inside. We also replaced the D-ring washers that were missing. This is a problem when people take apart their motorcycles.
Yeah, that's right here, right? Is that what you're saying?
They get often set aside thinking that they're not important. They're actually crucial to the safety of the rider.
Okay.
Over torqued here, it is likely that there's a crack within the triple tree that you won't see.
Yeah.
And it could really put your safety at risk. So we replaced those, and then of course torqued the whole assembly appropriately, along with the fork caps for the front tire since it was off. So everything gets a torque.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Sweet. See, I told you needed to talk because I don't remember half the stuff. I know kind of what we're about to do, but you know better what we've done. I'm going to show you. Can I show you the video? You just say hi.
Hi.
This is Bruce. He's been awesome. Okay. So brakes. What else have you done so far with the bike? Are those the major things that are done just because we've been waiting on parts?
Yeah, we're actually waiting on parts. So some of the next steps that you brought over today will be rear suspension that we're going to replace.
Yep, we're going to make it look more just correct, right? Mm-hmm. So these are old, but they're aftermarket, right? They're not like new aftermarket.
No, those are old school. They're a Cody product though, very high end from the 70s.
Okay, and they make the bike sit up a little more, right?
Yeah, you've gained a couple inches. So for an example, so here's the perch fitting. So you can see at the top.
Yeah, we're quite a bit lower.
Yeah, you're going to drop quite a bit.
Okay, and what you were saying, this was actually for protection for the person in the rear, right? Like if there's potentially pinching your fingers.
Yep. So if somebody's back here, they missed this. You can get your fingers in here.
Yeah, okay.
Helps keep it clean.
And that was really, this is actually out of everything, I think, out of everything we're doing, that's the only part that is not either NOS or OEM, right? Out of pretty much everything, other than I think maybe the grip plastic that I got. I don't think that's NOS. Let's see, you cleaned up and lubed the chain, right?
Yep, I did.
Okay.
Lubed up the chain.
And the chain is in good condition. Is this another key point? Is that what that is? That yellow? Or
So somebody did a marking. I believe, in my opinion, what the original owner was doing was establishing that where the master link is. It can be a little difficult to find. He had a really interesting chain cover on there that was a touring
we should
style.
show that. I'm going to show it.
Okay.
It's this. What did you call this? You got this term for like old sort of grandpa stuff. What was the term again?
I think it was just grandpa style.
Yeah, just like.
But this is really cool if you were into touring back then.
Yeah.
So this assembly went like this, and then it was a chain case cover. So
And this would squirt oil down in, right?
yeah, this would actually, it's an oil feed, so you'd fill this up and it'd drip oil on it.
Okay. And this was, like stock, we can show it, is just sort of this top. This is like a complete cover.
Yeah, it
right?
covered everything. So if you were rode in the water, which I would presume that they did during touring,
Yeah.
Any condition, it really added a ton of mileage to the chain. Because grit and the oil that we put on the chain attracts dirt all by itself.
Yep.
So this
Okay.
was a really common assembly back in the Honda days, on the Bentleys that came out of Japan. That was something that was really common for them.
Okay. Yeah, this
is cool, actually.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it is. There's a patent pending. They put a lot of effort into it.
Okay. Really cool. Okay.
And then the throttle cables that you bought.
That were too long, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird. I still don't know what happened there, but whatever. We put you're putting the old throttle cables back on, right?
They're ready to go.
Because there's nothing wrong with them. We took off the guy who owned it for basically its entire life, toured on it. So these were basically aftermarket or whatever. I don't know, maybe these came from Honda, but just...
No, that's not a Honda problem.
Okay, gotcha, okay. So yeah, these were hooked up on the front of the frame and in front of the engine, and basically you could put your feet up. So if you wanted to ride your Honda CB500 like it was a Harley, which I just find so weird, anyways, more comfortable. And then we're doing a new, but again, OEM petcock. So that's the petcock that was on it. So for my bike, the last few things, you got the carbs off.
Yep.
The carbs you synced them, or you checked to see if they needed to be synced, right?
Spot on. Yeah,
And
if
they were
you'll
spot on.
remember the video, it was
like perfect, basically.
perfect.
Yeah. And so what's awesome is this bike doesn't, my fear was maybe it would need stuff in this area. Engine, I didn't really want to have to do that because that's where it gets really expensive, right? When you do carb rebuilds and cleans and top end rebuilds, it would have been thousands. So yeah, honestly, the biggest thing was the stupid sticky throttle, which will be fixed. And then other than that, we've got the shocks, we've got the spring for the throttle so that it doesn't stick. What else are we doing? That's pretty much it.
That's
right?
it. We're ready to button it up and go for a ride.
Yeah, okay, sweet.
We are relocating the key.
Oh, that's the other thing, yeah. Yes, so this is kind of another grandpa setup, whatever you called it. At some point, this was common, right? A lot of people did this, yeah. They would just mount the ignition up here. The ignition should be, let's see, like right here.
That's correct.
And so it obviously doesn't have the correct bracket, so we bought, or I found on eBay, kind of a not in the best condition bracket that we're gonna mount. Oh, you got her? Yeah, so this is how it'll sit, is right there. In the ignition, this hole will just, right in there. So I wanted to just, this is kind of silly, but I was like,
I think it's...
I just want it to be as close to original as possible, and even if that piece is a little bit beat up, I just want it to be what it was meant to be, you know what I mean? And that's why, even though these, like, you put better tires on your bikes, more performance tires, because you ride more than I do, but I just wanted it to look really classic. And it's sad, the only thing that we would need to do is exhaust. That's the last thing, which we might do at some point, because these exhausts, the original exhaust just didn't survive very well often on these bikes. But it should be 4 into 4, so two coming down here and then sort of fanning up. And so if we can find original exhausts for this, or I might buy the aftermarket ones that look correct, we might do that down the road, but I didn't want to spend another $1,400 or whatever they are to do that right now, because who cares? And my wife was like, who cares? It sounds great. Why do you care so much? So anyways, that's where we're at this point. The motorcycle is here, finally. All right, guys, the Honda is all done. It's been at the mechanics for about, I don't know, I feel like it's been at least 3 weeks probably, as we were waiting for parts. And yeah, she's done. She runs amazing. This is such a cool bike, and we did almost everything I want to do, and we can talk about that in a bit. But yeah, this is the bike, and I'm going to go over just as quick as I can all of the things that we did. And I guess we'll start at the top with the main problem that we had. So we had a sticky throttle. If you guys saw the video where I got this bike, the throttle would just stay where you put it. Now it snaps back really strongly, a lot, even more kick than my Triumph. And that's because down in here behind the carburetor, in between two of the carburetors right in there, there's a spring that pulls it back, and there was this flimsy little aftermarket spring, and we got the correct OEM spring for it, and it's like this thick at the thickest point. And so that fixed the problem. And then we actually re-put the original brake cables on, or sorry, throttle cables, because they were fine. It wasn't the throttle cable. So anyways, he fixed that. So yeah, we fixed the throttle, he fixed the throttle. He did some other little things that he was talking about that he was going to do, some little safety stuff. He put new fork gators on, which you had already seen. We put these new original looking wheels. These are Duros, I believe. I don't remember, I think they're Duro 317s, but they look really good, really classic, but they are new tires. But as you can see, they look like old tires. So those look amazing. Here's the rear one. So brand new tires. We did everything OEM in terms of parts. So for example, we ended up needing to put a new fuel petcock on here. The other one was, something was wrong with it. It needed a new like gasket in there, but it was messed up, and we ended up putting a new OEM like original correct petcock, and this is nice and tight. I mean, it's like it's like hard to move. But the other one was leaking. We relocated the ignition from up here to where it's supposed to be. And I got a new ignition mount. Well, this is a NOS, new old stock ignition mount. And he also lubed this, so you'll see when we start it in a little bit, it clicks into place really nicely. We put, this is the only aftermarket thing we put on here. I did actually find some original ones. I wish I would have bought original ones, but they're supposed to look exactly and function exactly like the original ones. So, you know, with the guard here. So these are nice, and as you can see, brand new. And the chrome on this is obviously really nice because it's new, but this will all polish up. I'm in the middle of polishing all the chrome on this bike. And here, I'll show some pictures of what this looked like before, but I polished this all up and it just came out incredible. This chrome is just fantastic. This side as well, I polished this all and it's really coming out looking amazing. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to go over everything. So basically currently on the bike, I mean, I had taken the original grip off and preserved this original grip. He put the original grip back on. So when he fixed this, we were able to keep this so that it has both original grips. So everything on the bike, gauges, like we had said, if you saw my original video, everything is original on this bike currently, except for the shocks, which were already not original, and the exhaust. And so we may put the correct exhaust on it at some point, but right now this exhaust looks pretty solid and sounds really good. But yeah, the original 4x4 exhaust I'd like to put on it at some point. But the biggest thing is the bike runs really good. It's got original paint that looks awesome. Needs to be cleaned up a little bit. These side covers are in good shape with no cracks on them. The chrome on it is all awesome and original. It's got lots of original stickers. The seat appears to be original. And yeah, she's pretty awesome. So I figured for this video, I could start it up for you guys and you could see what it's like for a cold start. And then once it warms up, I'll just show you kind of how it runs, because these bikes are really cold, like really cold. And also in my next video, I'll take it for a ride, or maybe a couple videos from now. I'm gonna take it out and sort of do like a first ride on it, even though I've ridden it around a little bit, but I haven't done any long rides. So anyways, I'm gonna get the key and start it up. As you can see, really clicks into place solidly. This is that Honda quality, so Bruce was telling me, versus my Triumph over there that, you know, it's a little loose. So anyways, key on. Ignition on. This is kind of hard to do with one hand, so see, we got the choke on. I'm gonna put the camera over here. Alright guys, like I said, be on the lookout for a video of me riding this bike and talking about what it's like and what it feels like to ride it and how it rides. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll see you in the next one. Ride safe. And this, oh yeah, and your bikes, in the middle of this, I'm walking by all these cool bikes. What is this thing?
Well, this is a 1997 Honda CB500RR. Whew.
Okay. I don't know a ton about this bike. This reminds me of, I know the, what's the like super crazy expensive, like weird, what is the Honda that has these? I'm gonna have to look it up. I don't remember. But I saw one go for Bring a Trailer for like $100,000 or something. It's like one of those, I don't know what it is. Like,
well, they make a lot of race bikes with production pieces to sell to the public, so they can actually say that the machine was manufactured like an RC30, RC45s, RC51s. Mm-hmm. So this is in line with that. This is actually a stripped down race bike made for the street. This came into the shop and I purchased it as a non-runner. And it certainly didn't look like this. So it's been completely taken down to the engine and then reassembled. It's completely stock, which is really rare for these bikes. One of the first things that the owners do is tend to strip them of their cool bits, because they're not cool in the eyes of the owner. The exhaust goes away, turn signals go away, X parts start disassembling from the bike, and then they're gone forever. This one has it all.
Well, that's why with age these bikes are more valuable if you can find them basically stock, right? As opposed to totally aftermarket. How many horsepower is this? At 94, I'm gonna guess what, 120 or 130?
So this is it's 143 brake horsepower.
143. Wow. Okay. Jesus, that's crazy. Okay. And then I'm gonna show. You've got the other bike. I just feel like people have to see just to show your technical know-how and prowess. You completely restored this, right?
I did.
So this is a CB500, which are kind of rare, right?
Yeah, rare in the fact that they're still on the road. Yeah.
This is just like unbelievable. This, I don't know if the camera shows, but this thing literally looks like a timepiece. Like I'm standing in a Honda dealership because it's just immaculate.
So this was purchased out of the barn, as they say. I did actually drag it out. It had set under a shelf, and the farmer that owned it had dumped inadvertently, without his knowledge, varnish all through the front end.
Oh gosh.
All through the front, and so took it completely apart. Precision Motorcycle Painting did the paint work, and then I did all the rest.
Wow, so you cleaned up all the chrome and aluminum and all that stuff?
And or replaced it.
Okay.
Because some of the bits just weren't survivable.
Wow.
There was too much damage during the pour of the varnish.
She's pretty. Dang. Yeah, so it's interesting. This is a 450, but it's a twin, whereas that bike's a Honda. It feels like at this time they wanted to make everything. They're making up to 500 twins, right? And then down to 354s. So
they're all over the map. So the idea was that everybody that walked in the dealership had some motorcycle that would fit their needs and their price point.
Yeah.
The cool thing about the 450 dual overhead cam is these are torsion valve spring operated heads. So no
what the hell does that mean?
No valve springs. So all the engines in here are valve spring operated. This is a torsion bar, which is straight out of racing. So it doesn't have that tendency of valve float to very high RPM. And so it is really technically innovative, expensive, but they didn't exactly pass that along to the consumer. This was a really affordable motorcycle back in the late 60s, early 70s.
Is that why the top end looks like the valves just look so different? The valve covers and everything just
almost Jaguar-like. If you look at an XKE engine, you'll notice those two independent camshafts, front and rear.
Yep.
So that is that big lump up top, and if you'll notice, Brett, that cylinder head starts right down where it's sticking out from the barrel. All of that clear up to under the tank is cylinder head.
Oh, interesting.
It's really big, and it's really
normally the cylinder head would be cutting off like right here, right?
Yeah, it's a lot smaller. So all that where your hand was at is where the camshafts are at. So it's driven by a single roller chain in the middle. They're really not difficult to set up, but if you don't do it correctly, it will not perform like it's supposed to. And this has a really high red line of almost 10,000 RPM.
Wait, I didn't know that much about this bike. I thought this was just, they just made a 450 twin. Wow, that is crazy. Wait, what is my bike red line at?
Yours is probably 9 and change if I remember.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like, I want you to start this at some point for me. I want to hear this thing. Okay. Maybe next time when I come back, you can start it. And
It's actually encapsulated right now. I drain all the fuel out of everything.
Okay, so this is winterized or whatever. Okay, well, yeah, maybe not, but at some point I'd love to hear this thing.
It is a lot of fun.
Really cool. And there's an article online I found actually about this bike.
Yeah. I was actually published in Motorcycle Classics in 2013 with this bike.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that was what I found, I think.
Yeah.
So, really cool.
Yeah,
Sorry,
thanks.
I made you pull the...
No, it's fun. I mean, what's the point of owning this stuff?
Yeah, if you can't show it off, right?
This is a VTR. What they call what they call a super hot.
Okay. Wow.
So this came into the shop as a non-runner as well. It came in with 1,200 miles on it.
Okay.
It's a 2005.
1,200 miles.
1,200 miles. So it was a one-owner bike.
Who didn't really ride it much?
Nope. It was out of Seattle.
Okay.
He rode it, or she rode it a little bit, and then parked it. And then I picked it up and I took it down to the frame and the engine, and then replaced anything that was corrosive or not in what I would call a rotation condition. So this is a complete, and I don't restore bikes, I preserve them because they're only new once.
Yeah.
So this has been preserved. It's factory exhaust, of course, turn signals, color.
I like your sensibilities with these bikes. I feel like I think the same way. I feel like I watched a video of a guy taking a bike, something similar to my bike, and he had original paint, original seat. It looked like the rear, like the whole fender and stuff, that all looked original like mine. And he just started chopping it up, and I was just like, oh my God, I can't watch this. This hurts, because I don't fully understand that. But anyways.
So this is what they refer to as a Honda Cotty. And that's kind of a joke, little tongue-in-cheek, is because this is a 90-degree V-twin.
I was going to say, is it a V-twin?
It is, and it's right out...
L-twin, basically, right?
Stealing right from Ducati with, however, reliability.
Okay.
Very impressive engine, very fun to ride. Probably out of this group, next to the Harley that's sitting over there, this and my CB550/500 is the funnest to ride.
Wait, what is the Harley? How old is the Harley? 2003,
original owner, I'm in it.
Okay, 2003, what? Like a
Night Train.
Night Train, okay.
Yeah, that's
cool.
1450cc Night Train.
Damn, all right.
But this is a lot of fun. This was done just last summer, so it's really fresh. And as you can see, it is pin neat.
Yeah, it looks, literally, it looks basically new.
Yeah.
I mean, which makes sense with that few miles, but it probably did have some stuff you had to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Honda. I owe this all to Honda. I am merely preserving what they do. So
yeah, Honda did it best, right?
Well, for me, I am very biased. I grew up on them, so that's my experience.
Okay.
Honda did the work. I'm just keeping it alive.